Once again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And today, it's somehow intriguing topic because we're going to talk about 10 poorest countries in 2025 in the whole world. In 2025, 19 of the world's 20 poorest countries are in sub-Saharan Africa, with Yemen as the only non-African country on the list. Despite being second fastest growing region after Asia, sub-Saharan Africa's high population growth, political instability, extreme weather, and frequent coups hinder economic progress. And now, let's see the top 10 poorest countries in 2025, ranked by GDP per capita in USD. Number 10. Madagascar. Madagascar is burdened by chronic political crisis, deforestation, and weak economic policies. The island nation frequently faces climate disasters such as cyclones and droughts, which damage agriculture and worsen food security. Over 75% of the population lives in extreme poverty with limited access to health care, education, and clean water. Number 9. Yemen. Yemen is the only non-African country on this list, suffering from an ongoing civil war since 2015. The conflict between Houthi rebels and Saudi-backed forces has led to severe economic collapse, famine, and mass displacement. The war has devastated infrastructure, and the country relies heavily on foreign aid. Inflation and food shortages continue to push millions into extreme poverty. Number 8. Liberia. Liberia is one of Africa's oldest republics, continues to recover from the aftermath of civil wars between 1989 up to 2003 and the devastating Ebola outbreak between 2014 up to 2016. Corruption, a weak healthcare system, and poor infrastructure limit economic progress. The country remains heavily dependent on commodity exports such as rubber, iron ore, and palm oil, but fluctuating global prices often destabilize the economy. Number 7. Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is incredibly resource-rich, boasting vast reserves of cobalt, copper, and diamonds, yet it remains impoverished due to corruption, ongoing armed conflicts, and weak institutions. Infrastructure remains poor, and main regions lack access to basic services. Number 6. Somalia. Somalia has faced decades of conflict, terrorism, and weak governance, leaving it with one of the world's most fragile economies. Al-Shabaab insurgencies, piracy, and political instability have deterred foreign investment and economic stability. Severe droughts and food shortage frequently push the population toward humanitarian crisis. Number 5. Mozambique. Mozambique has vast natural gas reserves, yet its economic growth has been stunted by corruption, poor governance, and extremist insurgencies in the north. The Cabo Delgado insurgency linked to ISIS has displaced hundreds of thousands, disrupting businesses and investment. Frequent cyclones and floods further devastate livelihoods, increasing poverty rates. Number 4. Malawi. Malawi is a landlocked country heavily dependent on agriculture, which is vulnerable to climate shocks such as droughts and floods. The country also struggles with high population growth, food insecurity, and limited industrialization. Despite receiving international aid, Malawi faces high debt levels and rising inflation, worsening economic hardship. Number 3. Central African Republic. The Central African Republic is one of the world's conflict-ridden nations, with various armed groups controlling large parts of the country. Despite having rich natural resources like diamond, gold, and timber, weak governance, corruption, and frequent coups have prevented economic growth. The lack of security and poor infrastructure continue to drive extreme poverty. Number 2. Burundi. Burundi suffers from political instability, corruption, and high population density, which place immense pressure on its limited resources. Over 8% of the population depends on the subsistence farming. Yet frequent droughts and land degradation have led to chronic food shortages. Infrastructure remains underdeveloped and foreign investments are minimal. Number 1. South Sudan. Since its independence in 2011, South Sudan has been marred by civil war, ethnic violence, and weak governance. The country heavily relies on oil exports, but frequent conflicts and mismanagement have hindered economic progress. Food insecurity is widespread. The country remains dependent on international aid to support its population. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing. See you next time. God bless you.